Hey everyone, we're just going to go through family teacher partnerships and how important they are for using guidance successfully in the classroom. So, the question, what is a family? Many different groups of people make up a family. And here we have some different traditional types of some different types of family, which could be traditional, blended, multi-generational, extended, minority, migrant, single parent, divorce, and others. All right, so the family is the smallest and most important social institution. It's composed of a group of interacting people united by blood, marriage, or adoption. It's a socially sanctioned group, the person united by kinship, marriage, or adoption, said a little different way, who share a common habitat generally and interact according to well-defined social roles. Another definition, a relatively small domestic group of kin who function as a cooperative unit for economic and other purposes. And here are some functions of family. Family is the essential unit for meeting several different functions. It has been common for family sociologists to refer to 7 traditional functions of the family: economic, prestige and status, education, protection, religion, recreation, and affection. All right. So one of the most important elements of good quality education, and one that is not usually discussed, is the importance of the support of the parent, the child, and the teacher or the daycare provider, and the world of work. If the child care enhances the power of family, there are excellent results for the child. If the family is undermined, then the outcome is not beneficial for the child. So these institutions of family, work, and education affect one another, right? So when you think of education, which could be preschool, if you have great preschool, then it's going to affect the work of the parent. Great preschool affects the family, and work affects the family, and it could affect the education or the preschool in that if a parent works long hours, the child is at the preschool for long hours. So children benefit when these institutions work together and hold the family institution in high regard. And conversely, children are harmed when the institutions do not honor the family as important. Family and teacher relationships. A partnership model means that teachers support each child's tie to the family as a foundation to build on. They assist children to extend their home culture into the classroom, and they supplement or build on children's family experiences. And that would be when you connect classroom activities to activities that children have experienced at home or with their family, or prior, it's otherwise known as prior knowledge. So our textbook defines 2 basic tools that teachers can use to learn about students. One is observation, and we know that we use observation for assessment, for the development of children in different academic domains, right? Observation is also important when used to understand and accept child and family. You can observe how the students in your classroom interact with peers, and you may understand how they interact with the other family members. So by observing children in your classroom, you can deduce somewhat, or it might help you to start inquiring about what family relationships look like for your different students. The other basic tool is contact talks. And contact talks are defined as conversations that an adult has with a child to learn more about that child, to better understand them. So when you're having a contact talk, you are conscious about having that conversation. You've made a decision. It's about learning about the child, right? You listen and you attempt to follow the child's lead. It may be something that you overhear. Oh, I had spaghetti last night. My dad made spaghetti for dinner last night. Oh, does your father often cook dinner for you? Yes, he's the only one who cooks in our family. So you just gained some insight into that child's family, that the father is the main chef of the family, right? Understanding of children you are working with leads to understanding of a child's family or home life. This understanding helps a teacher or educator support and advocate for children by communicating children's needs to parents. Another example, maybe you overheard a child say, oh, my dad is gone. And so a little later you may say, hey, Robbie, I heard you say that your father's gone. Where did he go? He went to work. He's going to be gone for 6 weeks. And so you understand that Robbie's father is in the army. He is going to be gone for 6 weeks. And now you may understand why Robbie isn't as enthused to join in the classroom, because he's missing his father. Perhaps he wasn't able to express that need to his mother. And so because you've observed this, you can advocate for Robbie by telling his mother, hey, it seems like Robbie's really missing his dad. Is there anything we can do to perhaps, have a picture of his father in the classroom, or Robbie can share some stuff of where his father's at so that he can bring some of his father into the classroom, and maybe that will help him be more enthused about learning again and help him deal with missing his father while he's in the classroom. All right, so you can build partnerships with parents by communicating with them. And this slide shows different types of communication, right? The main thing is that when you're communicating with parents, you're wanting that communication to be building positive relationships. You want your communication to be non-threatening. If you're speaking with a parent, you want to use reflective listening. You could use compliment sandwiches. You want to assist parents to view their child and their child's education positively. If you need to have serious conversations, then you are going to arrange for a face-to-face conversation to talk about serious topics with parents. I think it's important for us to understand expectations of parents that we're working with, and these expectations for their children are influenced by their own childhood and expectations that were placed on them. They're influenced by society that they live in, possibly the religion that they practice, and the culture views of their family. When communicating with parents about guidance issues, here are 3 tools or through 3 things that we need to do that are emphasized in our course textbook. As teachers, we want to seek to understand how the parent views the child. We want to start from the position that parents want the best for their children. Both parents and teachers share the same priority, and that's that the child that we're working with will be successful. As we work with parents, we want to emphasize that the child is in a developmental process of learning more acceptable alternatives. And the role of the teacher is to provide guidance to help the child in their development. We want to make sure that we can, explain to the parent that a behavior is possibly a mistake. And by defining a disruptive or hurtful behavior as a mistake, that we're not being permissive. We are allowing for the fact that children are developing and that they may make mistakes. And as a teacher, we're teaching versus instructing, right? So we're guiding, we're supporting that child to learn alternative behaviors from the hurtful or harmful disruptive behavior that might have taken place. And the goal of communication with parents is to accept the child and where that child is developmentally. And we want to communicate with the parents appropriate guidance and have the parents understand that appropriate guidance can be in relation to the child's behavior. When we're communicating with parents and perhaps there are disagreements, two possible consequences can happen. There can be negative dissonance, and that results in alienation of one of the parties, right? So it's when a parent and teacher come together and they disagree and they can't find common ground to stand on to move forward. So for the most part, communication is disrupted. The other alternative to this is creative conflicts. And creative conflicts is based on the common ground of the child that they share in. You remember that the common ground is a priority and what's best for this child. So within creative conflicts, you encourage mutual respect. You might have to communicate with other staff or bring in other consulting professionals when you're having a disagreement. You might need to talk to the situation, right? Don't be emotional that you just keep that situation as the main topic of your conversation and you disregard everything else. And that might come from, as the teacher, being respectful when you feel disrespected. You're going to model reflective listening. You reiterate the concern of the parent, and so that shows that you are listening, and then you may provide understanding around the parent's concern. You may not be able to come to an agreement, and so you may stop the meeting and plan for another meeting when people have kind of cooled off, and maybe you provide some literature for the parent to read, and then you come back together. You may need to switch to mediation and ask a third party to come in because you cannot find agreement. And so you may ask the parent, well, is there anyone else that we can consult with to find common ground and a solution around this topic or this behavior? And you need to remember that as an educator, you are not a social worker. You may not come to the final answer. You may need to reach out to other professionals to provide the answer and take yourself out of the equation. And I think it's really important to recognize when you need to do this for your own safety. All right, so empowering family as an institution. Empowerment is an intentional, ongoing process centered in the local community involving mutual respect, critical reflection, caring, and group participation. And through this process, people that are lacking an equal share of valued resources gain greater control over these resources. And so parents may not feel like they have power in the classroom. And so you are wanting to invite them in and empower them in their child's education. So partnership with families, and how does this respond, and how does this relate to guidance? All right, when you partner with families, you're creating acceptance of the family, the home, and you're making the classroom environment a safe place for that child. By accepting the family, you're showing the child that they are accepted because their identity is in their family. Partnering with families allows opportunities to de-escalate mistaken behavior. By partnering, you may find out the motivation for a child's behavior. Their father's gone for 6 weeks, and so possibly they can't handle that. They're not self-regulating. They're getting upset more. And now you know the motivation for that behavior you see in the classroom because you've been talking with the mother or the parent who's been left behind at the home. Partnerships with families enable you to support or advocate for children by communicating children's needs to parents. So just as a child might not be able to communicate their need to you and they're acting out in behavior, the parent can help you understand that child's need. Similarly, a child may voice a need in the classroom and the parent may not even know about that need. And so you can then communicate that need to the parent. The parent can supply resources for that child's needs, and then the behavior de-escalates. So how a teacher responds to a child's family affects the behavior of the child. Behavior is always communicating some type of message. And by partnershiping with families, you may have a better chance of understanding what that motivation for the behavior is. Thanks, everyone. See you online.